knowledge, love, and power. The light then dissolves back into the stream. Again, light rays radiate to the six realms, purifying the karmic visions, self-grasping, and habitual imprints of sentient beings. The light gathers back, and the stream transforms into the supreme protector of beings, Buddha Amitabha. He is bright red like a mountain of rubies, with one face and two arms in equipoise mudra, holding a begging bowl. He is garbed in the three Dharma robes and sits in cross-legged posture, ceaselessly looking upon beings with eyes of compassion. He appears as the great embodiment of all Buddhas. On his right is the noble supreme Charanzik, with one face and two arms, holding a white lotus with the left hand, white and adorned with jewel. He stands upright. To the left of the Lord is the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, with one face and two arms, holding a Vajra in the left hand, blue and adorned with jewels. He stands upright. They are surrounded by an assembly of Bodhisattvas. The three places of the principal Lord are marked with the three syllables. From the syllables white, red, and blue light radiates to the 10 directions, and in particular to the pure land of Sukhavati, invoking the heart pledge of Amitabha and his retinue, who then instantly appear at this place.
Todang wan ke nen de xe ne cha na zo be ma da ge den den de tam ze zheng gong de da ni me yo.
Page 17. Home, in the great bliss sphere of my own primordially pure awareness, abides Amitabha and retinue as the naturally present in its radiance. From the beginning, the Samaya being is one with the wisdom being, yet your form manifests from the expanse of great love and compassion in accordance with the mental inclinations of beings. Following your heart pledge, come here to this place and be seated indivisibly from the mandala of the Samaya being upon a cushion of multicolored lotus and moon.
Om Dewa Saparvara Beza Samaya Za Za Huan Pa Ho Samaya Di Cha Lin. Ran Yang Kang On A Hong On A Hong On A Hong Wan Sarva Be Pura Pur Sura Sura Awa De Be Soha On Sarva Be Pura Pura Sura Sura Our de besoha on sarva be apara para surasur our de besoha on beza sabarana kan yan la je dan den ben chuyon de Jemberan Shin Jarve Shadamba Rokon Jorwan Puson Choi Jerje Dan Se Nyon Me Ye Wan Su Chen Ran Shin Jarve Shadamba ro con se pe don wa je che la zi me do na zon zi ban de zi be ran xian jia rui jian lan be ro gong to re yong dian dong dian xiao len jie jia zong chen qiu do bian de zong zhi ran yin jia jiang lan be ro guan se ben chen le sorry chen nang we ren chen ro and sam den ran yin jia re to lam be ro guan che lo mo mo se wa ri xiao ge gang la so me den min jie cha xie ra ran yin jia re ge lam be rô wa kun che che nye do bar sho rô ja ju dan den be sha zen de ta ju ran jin ja we ja lam de rô kon den zen se jang so wa sho bo don zhô so nian jia rô me co to ju ran yin ja we nian lam de rô guan chang jiu sen dan din bar xiu wang bo zhen zhen de be yong dian a mo lan ran xin jia wa na lan be rô guan san me de wen ngong bar xiu zhai jie de dan jie dan jia zi ye xie ran yin jia wa na lan be rô guan san jie yong dian do bai xiu.
Page 19. 3. I offer this water endowed with 8 attributes, with the nature of generosity to the mouths of the victorious ones. May there be perfect fortune for all beings. I offer this food cleansing water, clear, cool, pristine, and exquisite, and with the nature of morality to the feet of the victorious ones. May all beings be relieved from the misery of existence. I offer various beautiful celestial flowers that have the nature of patience to the eyes of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the 7 attributes of the higher realms. I offer naturally smelling scents and blended incense that have the nature of diligence to the noses of the victorious ones. May all beings become free from the bonds of existence. I offer this precious, radiant, and luxurious lamp that has the nature of meditation to the hearts of the victorious ones. May all beings clear away the dense darkness of their deluded minds. I offer fragrant medicinal elixir, saffron, and the like, which have the nature of transcendent knowledge to the bodies of the victorious ones. May all beings realize the inner nature of phenomena. I offer food endowed with the essence of 100 tastes, with the nature of method to the tongues of the victorious ones. May all beings be sustained by the food of samadhi. I offer harmonious musical sounds, such as those of conch shell, drum, and bell, which have the nature of power to the ears of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the awakening mind. I offer the 5 desirables that appease the senses and have the nature of prayer to the victorious ones. May all beings be satisfied by untainted bliss. I offer the 8 auspicious substances, the 8 auspicious symbols, and the 7 royal attributes, which have the nature of wisdom to the victorious ones. May all beings attain the attributes of Buddhahood.
Om sarva panza manga samandra sabarana samaye ahom. Om Tang Sun Je De Ram Jiang Tam Je Je Da De Zong Da Ma Zong E Bo Da Da Le Lo Ban Do Bai Chen Chen Ba De Me De Chen Shen De Bo Wa Ye Zhou Gong Dang Zhen Ra Yue Chang Sen De Nam Da Shen De To Me Jie Wai Shu.
All owned and unowned things of the entire infinite billionfold universe, my own body, enjoyments, and all possessions, I offer without holding anything back to the pure land of Sukhavati. May the self-grasping of beings be thereby fully pacified. May they be endowed with the awakening mind, and may their birth in the pure land be unobstructed.
我人那门着了本子门个啊呼，安心三界东北东三层，瑞东这面南西去版本，年前车南去年龙的下。各生论节做来节也让，推荐军界灭北全可可，抗的公家让心去个有，可生妹妹夹不到钱包我。
Realizing that my own mind is the Buddha, I pay homage on the ultimate level, abiding within ungraspable empty awareness. Everything comprised within appearance and existence is offered. Deluded perceptions of dualistic grasping are confessed within the expanse of Dhammatta. I rejoice within the state of the spontaneous completion of the three kayas. The Dhamma wheel of unceasing compassion will always turn. Abide within the natural Dhammakaya that pervades all samsara and nirvana. In infinite pervasiveness, where there is no reference point of the three spheres, dedication will always take place.
日的前贤的倔强可罗个，圣家那拉大的推荐是，当家下见着我同在吧，那他娘样子拉强子的，今日在当的前头拉索。假使上升这穷怕不错，历见显得有不拉错了，人啊一生可被强插度。
3. Ever turning the wheel of Dharma in the pure land of Sukhavati, you unceasingly look upon sentient beings with compassion. Homage and praise to Amitabha, who abiding in equipoise follows his pledge to act for the purpose of beings, to Charazik Vajrapani, the other bodhisattvas, the noble assembly of arhats, and the gathering of deities abiding in Sukhavati. I humbly pay homage and offer praise with body, speech, and mind.
让你界定万所托卡人，大的人他也着也色可，天要我能安全卡本质，托卡呢东顿解托干特，歌颂多解托解托当可。南的多个人他安真嘞，儿子马尔波安真下那个，让给下有生浪儿着头，得到了你们切的可爱也， nga le wa za ka do na chon che cho je san je cham se nye ba se kan sun sen jia kon je zhe san jia ne ju nam da de chen yen de ju.
Page 26. At the heart of myself, appearing as Chenrezig. On a moon disk is a tree surrounded by the six-syllable mantra circling clockwise. From it, light radiates and a white mantra garland issues forth, emerges from my heart and dissolves into the heart of the deity visualized in front. Thus, Amitabha's compassionate heart flash of body, speech, and mind is invoked. From the mantra garland around the tree at the heart of Amitabha, a red mantra garland of light emerges from his mouth, enters my mouth, and I obtain blessings and attainments. In this way, the mantra circles and continuously between myself and Amitabha. The multicolored light issuing from the circling mantra garland pleases the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, purifies the three types of obscurations of all sentient beings in the three realms, and the universe and beings transformed into pure land of Sukhavati.
我们的我是我们的我是我们的我们的我是我们聚集人家破烂了，就是三界观见我上身就跟我说东西别找个蓝莓小老鼠安的老鼠世界他们就叫老去生着我的世界老的说去浪顿着我的世界老的 Lantra Seva Sinja Lada Sun Chua Yiki San Chawa Sinja Lada So. Keep you hear
Oh, yeah, Stella.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Teni Tere Yang Aran Soti Katsang Ke Yo Teni Ma Teni Demi Nani Kanshi Shoyami Katsang Aran Sotara Teni Dewachen Kam Ke Kuba Tungazu Ta Shure Teren Shinkam Nang Yude Betene Sanjing Hortan Jebagitene Uncle Son Togi Yude so my Shoyami.
As yesterday, so I'll continue the teachings on the prayer of Sukhavati of Dewachen from yesterday to the best of my abilities. And so yesterday I spoke about the Pure Land of Dewachen, like its qualities as a Pure Land. And so today we would speak about those Buddhas, the Buddha and their retinue and his retinue, those who dwell within this Pure Land of Dewachen, and about their qualities of enlightened body, speech, and mind. And you, at the same time, can continue to quietly recite the mantra.
Dinana so tang anan so sanje shakya mari sanje pa ma khodo je ba yo res den zab chenana kare som do sena denna jarwa chumde pa mi pe mara gen do je ji jimbara wola zo to shablan kholo so sinsan so ni be ji je je te ja je san nyam ja long de chiwe nam so so ge jodong ge pe ma dan de da ba den de tu ji je je jang ni da la zes ta te zab chenana de yo res.
So we spoke yesterday about the array of the Pure Land of Dewachen. How is it in the Pure Land of Dewachen? What kind of land is the Pure Land of Dewachen? And so now we're going to speak about who dwells within this perfect Pure Land of Dewachen. So it is the Buddha Amitabha, and together with his retinue. And in the root verses, it continues then where we left off yesterday on page 2. And it says, and there resides the subduer and victorious one, measureless light, who is of ruby red color and blazing radiance. He is adorned with the top knot on his head, the wheels on his feet, and so on, the 32 signs of perfection and the 80 minor marks. He has a single face, 2 arms in the mudra of equanimity, holding an alms bowl. He wears the 3 dharma robes. In cross posture, he is seated on a lotus of 1,000 petals with a moon disk from which rises a Bodhi tree that serves as a backrest. From far away, he looks at me with his eyes of compassion.
Tene kutse paad mi bi yupene tsepa mi isi, pa mi yubere tsepa mi yubere isi. Tene pema raga doji si jimbara sonzo, kong kumdo kandiji yore se na, kumdo do marpa. Pema raga, pema raga, dang marpa yi. Tene tela pema raga taba pe, kumdo ulite, pe chimu, hajang sani ma chab chimu, pa mi kote, te tam sani. Teni also pemara down to tell it. Who pen lima pemara pemara round nima was Sanji pemara nima bata Sanji or college was the me control the bar. Was a part of me control you bar. Tene kumdo marpo de karejin kumdo marpo chaga yoresena sanje pamite sanje yinda mara marpo chaya marpo de chaya zo de sanje pamike tene semji tan chele tsewa chimbe tene jis zongwa yin sna tene chapon dandan de bas kumdo marpo chaya ta semji tam jis zongwa sna tene deta kumdo marpo yin ba tene wala zokto shablang kholo tan chin zambo sumje zoni pebje zambo jeje 대 탐지 공개되네 수문화 빠드미 바사네 되니 텔레티네 되니 대답은 진상부터를 찾고 요소리스 되니 놀되나 샤르지 사니 로와 되니 사나 흉진인데 봐 그걸 주변 남서서 했더니 협도지 저런 거더니 빼마 똥들 되더니 빼마 똥들 되는 다비디 되는 사제 밤이 요데 봐 대 답산데 도와스 투 그접 다랑한 좀 산책 시행나 그접 인제 대해서 콩 따라 접 산책 시행나 되게 도와스
So it is the Buddha Amitabha, or the Buddha boundless light, or measureless light. And so he's called Buddha measureless light, a Buddha, because he is the victorious one who has defeated all the afflictive emotions. And from this a victory over the afflictive emotions, his body then, through this victory, his body emanates immeasurable light rays. And these light rays emitting from his body are so bright that they pervade all of the Pure Lands. That is why he is called the Buddha of measureless light. Buddha Amitayus is the Buddha of measureless life. And then it says his body is ruby red in color, and he blazes with radiance. So his body is red, and he blazes with brilliant light rays, even brighter than the sun. And so regarding the red color, his body is red, and in such a brilliant red that is unlike any other Buddha. And the significance of the redness is that it signifies his great love and care for all sentient beings. And so then it continues that he has all the major and the minor marks. So he's adorned with the top knot on his head and the wheels on his feet and so forth, all the 32 major marks and the 80 minor marks of Buddha. And these major and minor marks are a sign of his having accumulated inconceivable merit. So these are the manifestations of his inconceivable merit. And then he has a single face and 2 arms in a mudra of equanimity, holding a begging bowl, an alms bowl, and he wears the Sri Dharma robes. His legs are in crossed posture, and he's seated upon a lotus of 1,000 petals with on a moon disk seat. So there's a moon disk on a lotus. On top of that sits the Buddha Amitabha, and behind him, as his backrest, is a Bodhi tree.
Tene sanchushin kajab tenze tuji jinchi jangni dalaze songdoa. Tene sanje pameke tene nyingtsin tudrugde tene simchi tamjil zigde yores. Simchi tamjil zigde joyongna ma zigde pa mayi pa sosol kato zigde patawa. Pena ngaranso maji yena matik pugu mangbo yena ya ngarange pugu te kato tel tade yorwa. Ngarange pugu te kare chidu tade pe te tawa. 산지에 톡도 심지 탐지 레레긴도 받참돼요. 그래서 레레긴도 나란소 빼나 나란소를 빼레라 산지에 밤에 갑도 제대바 가디나 나랑원 오 밤에 나를 지비요레 삼야. 로 대답했더니 나를 따데 산지에 딱 가디나 나를 지비요 상아 이 코데나 산지에 지비요레 나 사와레가 드부요나 산지에 지비요레 네 개와지 드부요나 산지에 지비요레 네 먹게와지 드부요나 밤에 지비요레 삼바 다 대답지 삼는 코트고요레스 디 산제 zigzig요레스 맞소게 남주 제다 셈게나네 대답지 삼는 땅 마터를 리마도 산제게 뒤중치미 반년치 뒤로도 되는데요레스 지지지장다.
And so then it says, and he looks at me with his eyes of compassion. So the Buddha Amitabha always looks upon all sentient beings of the 6 realms throughout all the 6 times of day and night, at all times. And so it is not that he kind of has this a panoramic vision of sentient beings, like seeing them all kind of simultaneously, but it's more in a direct way. So he looks at each and every sentient being. Just like when a mother has many children, she still sees what each of these children is doing. She looks after each of them equally. And so similarly, the Buddha Amitabha's gaze pervades each and every sentient being. So he looks upon each and every one of us. So we can therefore think that Buddha Amitabha is always looking upon me, whatever I do. Even when I'm sleeping, Buddha Amitabha is looking upon me, or whatever I'm doing, he sees it. For example, if I engage in virtuous activity, he sees it. If I engage in non-virtuous activity, Buddha Amitabha sees it. So this is how we should think. It is just that maybe we are not able to always have that in mind, but even though we are not able to always have that in mind, the Buddha Amitabha really looks upon all sentient beings constantly throughout the 6 periods of day and night.
Penangaranke, Sanjay Pam, Musanga Zigdio, San Naga sing with any touch you there. Then it tell it in Agasalab the Jugere. Garsita, Teta, Tamachuna, oh, Tangone, the song the Sunguduati, Yang Ziguna, Minasana, then it takes home to Yuna, then a young celeb there to test home Nayimato young two mares. Namjung another Sungure. Yi Chiki Debes Sinlamjo song. Lot takes on the Dana Chesandre, say, the Sungure, then so Nagi Yichi. 하장 게 팀보 고요래 이치 세대다 산지여 밤에 나를 제유 삼베 이치바 그러와 대다라 산지가 제유를 노는 소고요래 가디는 집대요래스 투진 장에 달라제스 아 남중 안아서 직투 삼곰 섬스네 당 안아서 제 법정 땡사보 골레 숨고요래 남부추래 조나든 남부추 Lobjong Yabuchigos, Tengunere, Lobjong Yabusigor, Lobjong Sene, Drumdrete Kare Jiri Senas, Drumdrete Legundele Chichiba, Cheroya, Conchosum Depata, Tendun Cheroya. Ah, Tapena Sanji of Bamishin Hamlaso, but Tetabalatini, Mag Depa Cheroyina, Tachuran Lobjong de Taka, Royere. Tenia, Lobjong Mambo saying another chick tuba to Lobion Mambo Yamlin tuba Hiram and Matsuha, Mari, Tamonde, say a Jingo Duang and Samsa, or Lobion Mazin and Digumari, Monde Jen and Digumari said to so young girl was. Jedari, number two of Lobion Shivichigor. Number two of Lobion saying the dozen tops are carried tobore. Tops are de Depa, Tanang, Yichi, Ninji, the so common progress. The so common Mamparina. Then Lobjong the test, Taka and the wheel, Mares. Tachiran Lobjong Chini Mazejang. Tanga controls until the Lawa you, Mares, Samia. Or Sanji about me, Musanga Zig de Yore, Samia, Tepa each, thanks support you now. Ta Lobjong Sena, Chiran Tehako, Lobjong Mazeva Yinayam, Chiran Tepa, the Timbo Chita, Sanji about mission come the Jebali, Chita Tepa, Sanji Machapa Yuna, Teletin, Drumdre. Chira Sanjay Bamishin had jet to be res. Then so Tang answered Dewachen, give it 2 years, Dewachen, Tibetan, Yamnesi, and so Market de Pattern Dumba. They had young Shokchimugur. Then dooms to down around the Chutamji and the Dara. Gunzul Dondam Nishinger. Could Dondam to the Bongokanina, Cosanji compound of the Tony Tower to the Jachimbo and the world. Yina yang ngana le thamar pala kunzup de hatya ke kechim chagore kunzup de la matsu yichi ji guore o nge gewachi dripa ina drebe dewachi topu yore samba o nge mgewachi dripa ina o nga ngene nge songla ma chen ru yore samya ta te hatya ke nega chibo chagore teso nga so kunzup chues 아주 띵적이 취세나 저거를 공주고 취되나 저거를 레짐레스나 저거를 어떤 가서 땡사 보고 내 산지에 밤을 대바치 나 산지에 밤에 오네 소와세지 담나 나 대와치는 현에 찐로 요래 삼바대 하자 기치 못 저거래 대가란서지 다라 나란서 타마발레 담보바 대다 탐지에 대다보다 공헌 되시나 대와치는 띵띵지 요래스 가르치는 나도 참마 대원도 찍바르와 동하면도 찍바리 얘는 남상 안에서 산지지 공팡 라는미 공팡 또니게 따와 또야 갑래 커부도 왔어 럼파 있는 로고도 왔어 럼파 있는 로 들으세요 됐더니 bên 대화지 생 고마 탐진 로고는 갑래 커부도 와 말아서 배 사람 반도 작체 무고 그래 다 어밤이 생데 생체반 봐봐 인서도 말하는 눈바다 대바 찍찍되요나 대 때게 되는데 맞아 대화시에 제기도 와스 대인이다 년치 뒤로도 산지에 밤에 가는 직디요레 삼바 되네 대바 사지 맞춰봐요 이치 사지 맞춰봐요나 되네 되는 알아야 제가 사 잡다만이 용의 송반나이 톱고요레스
And so mainly, what's most important is that we have a trust, we believe in our mind. So that is to be certain in your mind that the Buddha Amitabha is actually always looking upon me. When you have such a conviction in your mind, then the blessings will enter your mind. If you do not have such a conviction and you just think that, oh, this is what they say, but I wonder if he's really always looking upon me, if you have these kind of doubts in your mind, then the blessings will be no more than doubtful blessings. And so that is why we always say, when you give rise to trusting faith, then the blessings will enter your mind. When your mind is free of doubts, your intentions are accomplished. So we need to have a very firm conviction, a trust in our mind. The Buddha Amitabha is really actually looking upon me. This is also explained in the sutras, how the Buddha is always looking after us with great compassion. So then normally we speak about listening, learning, hearing, and meditating. So we say it's very important that we engage in a lot of studying about the Buddha Dharma. And it is really true. We have to learn about the Buddha Dharma. But then what is the result? What should be the result of having learned about the Dharma? It should be that your belief, your trust in karma increases, and that your faith and your inspiration toward the three jewels increases, and that your trust in the Buddha Amitabha and the Pure Land ever increase. So then if that happens, then your learning, your studying actually has become fruitful. Otherwise, if we just leave it with having learned something and not actually develop some kind of intention in our mind, it is of not so much benefit. Or if we, as some say, that if we don't study at all and if we just focus on the practice, we might develop what is called a blind faith. And so without any knowledge, without any learning, that is also not proper actually. So we do need to learn something about the Buddha Dharma, but we need to keep in mind what it is that we need to gain from that. What we need to gain is an increase in our devotion, in our pure perception, in our trust, in our compassion for sentient beings. And if that happens in your mind, then your studying has actually, learning has become really fruitful. And so even if you don't study then, if you have this conviction and think that the three jewels are unfailing, they are trustworthy, Buddha Amitabha is always looking upon me. If you have such a firm and profound devotion and trust in your mind, then that would be the fruition of any learning. So even if you don't have much learning, if you just have devotion and trust in the Buddha Amitabha and the Pure Land, then you will with certainty be able to be reborn in the Pure Land of Dewachen. Because we say that mainly we need 4 causes to be born in the Pure Land of Dewachen. And so most importantly, we need to have faith and devotion, a real inspiration to go to the Pure Land of Dewachen. And so generally speaking, we say that the Dharma consists of the relative and the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth, when that is realized, we attain the state of enlightenment. The ultimate truth speaks about the vast view of emptiness. But for us, for beginning practitioners, actually the relative truth is extremely important. And on this level, we need to have great trust. Trust in that if I engage in virtuous actions, then as a result, I will experience happiness. If I engage in non-virtuous actions, then I will certainly be born in the 3 lower realms. So this is a very crucial point. So we call it the relative Dharma, or the Dharma of interdependence, or karma cause and effect. It is extremely profound. And so it is based on this understanding that you develop this trust, thinking that if I give rise to single-pointed devotion, faith, in the Buddha Amitabha, and I supplicate, I pray single-pointedly, then I will actually be born in this Pure Land. And so this is really crucial, especially for us beginning practitioners and for ordinary beings. If you have this motivation, this mindset, then surely you will be able to be born in Dewachen. So what we all want is to be happy, and there's no one who wants to suffer. We all share that in common. But then it is quite difficult to just immediately, just like that, attain enlightenment or to just quickly realize emptiness. We need to go in stages. Or if we think about going to Pure Lands that are the higher Pure Lands, it's actually very difficult to go there. We have to have reached the bhumis and paths and attained many great qualities of renunciation and realization and so on. But if we cultivate a single-pointed faith in the Buddha Amitabha and the Pure Land, then we can actually be born there. That is why it is good to keep in mind to know that day and night, throughout the 6 times of day and night, the Buddha Amitabha is always looking upon me. So if you always sustain this trust and an inconceivable devotion, then there will be a result, the result of receiving the Buddha Amitabha's blessings and being born in his Pure Land.
Then Namju Jumpara Ngaran Sotara Depa Hatyan Kichimbure Ngaran Sotara Number 2 then in a lapart the Ningan Sanga Dorji Tipanyamni Sigona Depa Tanang Depa Tana meaning drip to be a margin. Dordinang Sinlap Shipate Depa Tanang the Ninguere. Penangana Sanji Bami Ching the Jegona, Tambo Tepa, Tanang in the tuning on the Dewachen Jetoya, judging Sangayomata. Tepa Tanang Saji Machapayuna, Chirang Chuji Lobionta, Yamni Jimba Shirama Jijang, Tepa Tanang, Tawichiran Devachin Jetudua. Careers in the Sanji Bami, Koranketini to keep on the Ningaranga Tepa Tanang Tini, Deta Jetuyores. Tene Danangan so Gachin Buji Songsa, Tepa Gore, Tanangori, Shen Komala Tepa Gore, Songsa Tepa Tanang. Shen Tarangan so Yam Tapa Simji Namatini, Ninji Gore, Songsa. Tenia Sanji Bami Shen Kama Tepa. When Yunti Saji Machapa Sanji, Dewachi the Yunti Saji Machapari, Sanji Yuntis, Sanji Bami. Yundi Sanji Machapari, Santepa Sanji Machapayuna, Mayatana Jetugudu, Natin Cord Chugudu, Samia Tepa Tana Yuna, then the data of Naman Driptuya, the Yunguere. Data of Tepa Tana minute, Nambuni Koran, Yuya Koyan and Guyomare. Then the Tepa Tana said, there's a couple of Kaboyarawa, Yin and Matu Jang. Jang Yans complete Rawa. Complete Sanji Yunti, Sanji Gatara Namta, Logi to the test, this law, Sanji Obami can come to the test, the so can come Pin to the test, ta. Then it Dindijana, oh, Tan Dindiji in Sari, some testing as to Pachi, a lawyer. Carries in another Jula Tarachi, Danyo Mombasen and Danzis and Mambuchi Yorova. She saw Zanguji Duguna, Lamsang, Telechin Namton Rawatang. Jing Pog and Pag long in Pachia, Magiv Logia, let how you debate. Give a law, Pena de Patanangia, Pe, Cable Caboyra, then de Patana Yang, Sayans Jang, Rawa, Ningi Yang, Sayans Jang, Ningi Jungle, Ningi said, Cover Dongatangas and Song called Nisonsum de Cover Simpina and Indian Cotton Ningi Jungle. Then the Lapadam legend machine, Hatjang Miguel Mambo dreamed in it, that's what Ningi goes. Moi, Bakanshila, legend machine, Tinia, Magива Mambo, Drum the Nindoa, to so ninji, Chegores. Announce the carrier. Announce the ya, Conjusum Yuntin, Tambunaga Yuntin, Tongure. The Pache there. Tanang so Cavaljango. Tanang Arange, Chudo, Rob Pinso, someone around Chulop Young, Sini. Deda Tamjil Tata Hanjago, oh, that Tamji, Tamone, turning around the terrain. Guinness gom de rang a palm missing around ducky the Guinness in ba. Oh, ducky Guinness, oh, some Guinness in some real Marang Guinness in Coranzo, Judo some Guinness in some. Then it did out the thing at Tanang Youngs. Tanang Young, carrot, Takure, Diate, Nga Shiba, dancing to Euro, they part Tanduerta. They double thing the tops are carton, Guinness chapter. 되더니 다낭장 대바다낭장 들으시는더니 하장게더니 마랑양 드럽장 터비야 오 대바기는 깨터버도 차거래 되니 태솜도 소 화잔도 대바지신 요르에선 띵띵 요르 알아 대바지신면은 산지게 대바지신고 노송고 말와스 요 빨르티네 대바지 노라서 송요르 다랑 하나 좀 공가보게 되니 산지를 쉬네 나그 대화지신 진도도서 되네 산지가 코로나 대화지신 강우스 띵도와 우스 띵되네 공가와 이치 들 정도 들 송도스 대따왕아서 따라 보글라마 mambo 다랑아서 디 mambo 대화지신아 펩대봐 펩송 왔던데 요래 남타 요래 저다 뭐자 포모나나야 되네 오빠미 냠니시네 양 대화지는 신의 제소야 또서 다체마 또서 남타로지 요래 되네 말아서 되네 저 참이 데모쇼 참이 데몬데 바보 참이 라가세 대화지신아 펩송아 어디서 남타나 요대요레스 대화지신 감 요미 태솜사고만 땡땡 요레스 대대는 마게 대바다나 요는 말하는 저 특고요레스
So normally in the context of Dharma practice, we speak about the importance of faith and devotion. And that is particularly important when we engage in the practice of the secret mantra, the Vajrayana. In order to engage in such a practice, if we would not have any faith or a pure perception, we couldn't actually really do this practice authentically. So in brief, whether or not we will receive the blessings of the Buddha, Amitabha, depends on our faith and our pure perception mainly. So if you want to take birth in the Pure Land of the Buddha Amitabha, but you don't develop any faith or pure perception, then you are missing a cause that is necessary in order to be born in that Pure Land. So if you cultivate faith and a pure perception, then even if you do not have much learning, you can be born in this Pure Land, because this was the Buddha Amitabha's compassionate aspiration prayer. And also before, Gacho Rinpoche had said that we must develop faith and a pure perception towards the higher beings, and we must cultivate compassion for the sentient beings. So if you have an inconceivable faith in the Pure Land and understand the qualities of the Buddha Amitabha, you will have complete certainty that I can be born there. I can become one of the Buddha Amitabha's following, his retinue. This result can be attained. But if you don't have any faith or pure perception, then this cannot happen. And of course, developing faith and a pure perception is a little bit difficult, but it is something that we need to practice. We need to train in it over and over again. We familiarize ourselves with it. And for example, what you can do is to read the life stories of the Buddhas, like the Buddha Amitabha. And you can read about the benefits of the Pure Land and so forth. If you have this firm trust that I can be born there, then it is actually much easier. It becomes much easier to be born there. But then the problem is, for the most part, in our minds are filled with afflictive emotions and self-grasping. And often, even if we actually want to engage in a positive activity, it's so easy for us to develop negative thoughts, negative emotions, and non-virtue states of mind. It's so difficult for us to develop a really virtuous state of mind, a mind of faith and a mind of a pure perception. So that is why we have to train the mind in that over and over again. We have to train the mind in cultivating compassion. And of course, we need to cultivate compassion for those sentient beings suffering in the 3 lower realms. But then also we need to cultivate compassion, especially for those beings who do not understand karma. And because they do not understand karma, they constantly engage in negative actions. So we need to have compassion for all those beings. And then what about a pure perception? And we have a pure perception. We see, of course, the qualities of the 3 jewels and of the Pure Land, and then we develop faith and devotion in these qualities. But there's more to it. There's more to a pure perception. Actually, mainly, the way we cultivate a pure perception is towards our Dharma brothers and sisters, our Dharma friends, all those other practitioners of the Dharma. We need to have a pure perception towards them. So, for example, now in this context, in the context of Amitabha practice, we are visualizing ourselves as Chenrezig. So that the self-visualization is Chenrezig. So that means we all are Chenrezig. I am Chenrezig, and all my Dharma companions, my Dharma friends, they are all Chenrezig. So this is how we should train in the pure perception towards one another. And now, what becomes pure through such a perception? It is this mind that thinks that there is an I, a me, the self-grasping mind. And so when we purify such a self-grasping mind, we become Chenrezig. So when we train the mind in a pure perception and also in faith and devotion, then we are purifying many of our negativities and obscurations in the mind. And then we can be born in the Pure Land of Dewachen. We will become free of any doubts with regard to that. And if one may wonder, does this Pure Land of Dewachen really exist? It surely exists, because if it wouldn't exist, then there would be no point for the Buddha explaining it extensively in the sutras. For example, in one of the sutras, it is a story about Ananda, who requested the Buddha to see the Pure Land of Dewachen. And the Buddha showed it to him directly. And then Ananda developed great trust, great faith in the Pure Land. And there have been many stories of many Tibetan lamas, for example, who have taken birth in the Pure Land of Dewachen. And also even lay male and female practitioners who have engaged in the practice of the Buddha Amitabha. There have been many actual signs of their birth in the Pure Land of Dewachen. And so today also we are speaking about the prayer of Dewachen by Chagme Raga Asya. And there's also out in his story, it is evident that he also has proceeded to the Pure Land of Dewachen. So there is no need to have any doubts about that. Such a Pure Land certainly exists. And you can be born in this Pure Land if you give rise to faith and a pure perception.
Yes, Sancho Samba Chienez, local Posayan Bengas, Yundo Sancho Samba Tichinto, Bodo Sempre, my angel, Sajan, Force and Borajano, Langan and Lamri, Sancho Simba, Genon, and Bokunjans, and not same time busy the chewing so for the third deme. That to Bami Sunday, the dinner, Bami, yes, or the dinner, Chienez Sunday. Then you on the teaching top, Sanado Sunday. then the Zosen for Rejalum Boyin, Sondo, so Dan Dodina, Pamita, yes, Genius at any, you the teaching some Rona is Rejalum Tavis in the Nico number 7, Yodepa. The new Pamita Kundo Marpo, the new Genius Kundo Carpo, teaching the Kundo Humpo, Dan Dodina, Rota, the car, Mar. Thing Karman things in it, they tabatini, Nakin dono yo, de you some rawa. They tam you those Sanji Machapa. Then it take call a tadon, then call Gelong seven bums on the Gelong seven bum. Sancho simple Gelong seven bums. So that Sanji Obama Zonko soon get in it, they don't chicken call it in it, Gelong seven bums on the Jadan seven bums on the that's the Jami best Sanji Machapa sit them. You do Sampa. They Davitin as a task on the Pusaris.
So then,
Set them sending us some the young door and Tarati Tahir Lanka and Burma to some Gendum Mambo zone the Gendum Tongcham zone the Nico Tankalaman, the Yugudo and some Sapan Todo. See them, do that number 10 Rawachi. That's so hot in it, so course on the thing. They run is chimbo. Genesis the conqueror, Tara conqueror, Omdokaro. A palmy the thing, Tara Pemara Ranagi, Marco Chimbo. The name teaching of the thing, Benjayer Wanagi, Hompo Chimbo, something didn't talk out the thing, Gelon Sevambum. Gelon saying the Tandina, Janan Gelon Sevambum, Sancho Simple Gelon Sevambum, song the Tina Tara, Jajombata. That is what the Obama Yamnis in the teaching come the chance, it's something here. Tang around so Obama Yamnia, Janet, data on Conan, so a jet whereas data within the Changmi button is the Nissan voice arrest. You some.
So then we visualize the Buddha Amitabha in the center. And then on his right is the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Chenrezig, who is white in color. And then on his left side is the Bodhisattva of great power, Vajrapani, in blue color. And these three main deities appear like Mount Meru, like mountains, like radiant, brilliant mountains. Like a red mountain, a white mountain, and a blue mountain. So think that in this way, Amitabha, Chenrezig, and Vajrapani appear in the front of you, like mountains and being radiant with limitless light. And then these three main deities are surrounded by a retinue of 1 trillion Gelong bodhisattvas, who all of them also are of golden color and have the major minor marks and are dressed in the Sri Dharma robes and are of great resplendence. So we need to, it says here, a retinue of 1 trillion Gelong bodhisattvas. So we need to think of them as an incalculable and inconceivable amount of bodhisattvas, of retinue surrounding those three main deities. For example, sometimes we see images of monk gatherings from Sri Lanka or from Burma, where you have thousands of monks coming together. And when you see this image, this picture, you just see like this ocean of yellow, of gold, like this brilliant yellow color of just all these monks being together. So it is just like that. There's this like ocean of Gelong Bodhisattva retinue surrounding the three main deities who rise like three great mountains. So Chenrezig is like a white snow mountain, and Amitabha is like a mountain of ruby, and Vajrapani is like a mountain of lapis lazuli. And then they are surrounded by this vast retinue of Gelong bodhisattvas. And among them are also the arhats, and then all those who have practiced Amitabha and then have taken birth in Dewachen. They are also in this retinue. So therefore, if we practice Amitabha well, then we can also be born as part of this vast retinue surrounding these Buddhas. So think that these are all in front of you, and the main figures are surrounded by this vast retinue of the Gelong Bodhisattvas, and they're all radiant with brilliant light.
Te tabatini dewachi shinkam ke kupa nuji kupa chuji tinana yubas ta sanje ta sancho semba ta te tabatini shinkam le yudu yuresa ta zo tara kondi hibana yiri ngage te pata tini ndumba tina jego samba ta ngaya tina rogo samba ndumba te ta hachang kichimbu nambo sar tep tini ndumba te kichimbu chaka yures ta te tabasan dem de tini nga son de sam ta nan de o sanje ba men khot de be nga gub de yure san de ge rwa nga ya tan ro go sanje ba me nga gub de yure san rwa tene nga de pa si tene ta ba me hin pa no no ge rwa nga ran zo am de wa shu sa tene ba me de pa nga ran ge hin kham to sar bo yi le te na ya bo re hin kham to san de tumna ka si sar de ma to ba yin 산지에 빠면은 나게 대파요나 근데 산지에 빠면은 되니 침바도 제와 요르와 공 가디는 가서 즈ግ데 요르와스 아초 고데 요르와스 심지 탐지 고데 빠면 공hin나 양딩고 삼네 되니 나게 대파당 되니 눈바 요나 되니 빠면 힘파사데나 인칸사르 헤라 마테바이나야 나랑 첨마타데 되니 되니 찌트고요레스 렘루거레스 tar chinjin dam phang ba tar se dasar chimbo du zung dam phen de lam sam ben la ta phon ro de ma ta phang wan san ji pho cha ba de ta ba sin nga na chuma da de san ji ba mi sin na wu de nga ji kham je tu bu re se zo tum ma de nga na de ba de xi yun re ba ya ta
So this is the array of the Pure Land of Dewachen, which is the container, and the content are the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas abiding in this Pure Land. So most important is that I have faith and a yearning, a longing to be born there, thinking that I will be born there, I must be born in the Pure Land of Dewachen. That is really important. So first we need to visualize the Pure Land. Then it's very important to have this longing to be born there. So we should think that I too will go to the Pure Land of Dewachen. The Buddha Amitabha is there waiting for me. And so if you always practice the Buddha Amitabha with great faith, with great devotion, recites the Om Ami Deva Shri mantra, then you can be born there. And so if you're able to visualize the Pure Land clearly in your mind, then that is excellent. But even if you can't visualize it clearly, if you just have this devotion of I will be born in the Pure Land of Dewachen, then you can be born there, because the Buddha Amitabha possesses great omniscience and loving compassion, always looking upon us. Buddha Amitabha is waiting for us to come there. He's waiting for all sentient beings to come to the Pure Land of Dewachen. And what we need is faith and a longing to be born there. And if we have that, and then with that faith, always recite the Buddha Amitabha's mantra, then even if your visualization is not so clear, at the time of your death, you will immediately be able to be born in the Pure Land. Just like an archer is shooting an arrow and hitting the target almost instantly. So the moment he shoots the arrow, the arrow reaches its target very swiftly. And so similarly, if you have such great devotion, then the moment you die, you can be born in this pure land. And so whether or not you're born there really is strongly related to your faith and your longing.
Jirum Sigranga Jirum to so Jachim Masi Himi Yan Choa Kaching Tene Kon to so Jachim Mashi Yina Yang Arachi Tachi Gewa Drugudo Sangas Drutang Mashi to Yungu Rositang a Chuji Yamin Chigudo Chuji Lobion Sigado the Kandichi Gosari Kandichin go to Gosari Samyang Masota Mango Yungu Yorwa Semnani Toba the Dichin and Digayuna Mina Samyata to suit this Semnan Namdo Yungu Yore. 다 든든 지랑 또 약부 희우나 벤로당 나이 초하나 인로트나 약부래 가진 로 마탑장 지랑 산지여 밤에 대바 찌찌 버고네 드니 세마행 버고네 드니 지랑 아무데와 셔스 아무데와 사데바이나 꼰초 숨다 드니 밤에 신칸 탐지라 꼰 주바 나기 짜친 부찬로여래 드니 양 코버심징 안한 것이 hingi시사 당하는 좀 삼사지 아마도 punchi 라소바 종로도와 종들은 가르치고를 삼양들 연구도와 오 대다 탐지게 게잘라야 오다 코란 속이지 대와 지신의 제쇼 상하게 되네 이바 강야 마시자 오 아메데어스 상와 바밀 소와 제지도 답 대바치 되네 오 아메데어스 사데나야 되네 코란 속에 피임상지 될라지 마고와 차고 이랬어요 되는 되는 거래 되네 코란 속에 되게 핀 토고요래 소속의 파마 본지 코버 심지 삼로 자침보단 코버 심지 탐지의 지도 또는 약보래 대만인자 양 소속의 지 갑토 된대양 다지 더 강해진 통용하는 되니 대다 탐지지 대다 탐지게 잘라야 되니 오하면 되어서 산 대근 정도요래 양 소속지 나차다 징이 발전 라면을 연구도 안 하는 배는 사와라나 만로야 야나 내나 차용이야 또 징이 받지 라므로 열어봤어 대다 간지지 중앙이나야 나라 산지여 밤에 소톱 되네 오하면 되어서 돈데나 되게 되네 띵띵세 남 요거 열어서 가래지네 그러와 산지여 밤에 그때는 인치 뒤주든 안서 적대요다 제인도 내가 대파 다낭 거니 되네 산지여 밤에라 되네 나게 인파트 사데바이나 되네 곧 레와차다 너드나 레와차인데 되네 산지여 밤에 그 신람 요야겠다 나가 고세리다 너드나 나게 대파 다낭이 고 미나 산지여 밤에 그 적대나야 핀도케요 말해 나게 대파 다낭세나 되네 신람 요야겠다 나가 카세르와 배는 가서 멋진 강반을 해 용거는 고 잡이나 용투고 말봐 고세는 용투고라 에테타브레 대파 다낭당 드네 세마에는 가게 님바 아메데서 돈데 바이나 산지여 밤에긴 친데요 다 치랑을 신랍 가래고도 로와 치랑 대와지시는 제거도에 치랑 찡이 발체 설거도에 치랑 그 파마다 효 탐지 대다 탐지를 줍종 개와고도에 소소 소나 고는 공동 풀거도에 되는 강도 받더니 대답 받더니 소나 터보여 대 소나 만낭 터야 되어 밤에서는 되어요 와스 나게 대박거네 되니 아무 데와서 레라우리도 와스 되니 대 레라우가 사시요 되니 되게 동된 되게 그래서 나서 야 건조스는 주바야 딘드게요래 되니 소속 징이 받쳤습니다 소속 릉로 야 대근드게 진석 릉로야 소소그 득득니 동 탐지 파하게 득바침보 싸되오나 메게와 망보 득되오나 되는 주바데 제보고네 되는 아바메 소와 톱되는 데 아메데서 돈데는 득거래 되는 지 뭐쇼 정도니 되다 탐지라 아메데서 돈데는 딘득거래 되는 셈마야미지 데이터고네 싸나 되는 거 산지 아바메는 진제 뉴스고 용데 찹상되는 진제 진세들 심지 탐지게 되던 진게요래 년치 뒤로 진거래 나라서 셈난 남도 가르치와 있나 진투고요래 Then 제와들이 가디는 심지 탐지게 농하능에 쪼고 농하 탐지능에 타라시고 삼로 되어래. 제와여래. Then nipa sanje pamel nipa yore. Nipa yone dewa jing ribas. Then ngake tepa tang. Then danang kendina then didn't a pamiamis and then tell me pachagores.
So we speak about deity practice. We speak extensively about how to practice generation stage, the visualizations of different deities, how to practice different rituals and sadhanas and so on. And we might also be familiar with the various levels of ritual activities to engage in. But then still, even though we very expert in these practices, often we don't really know how to actually practice virtue. We want to practice virtue, but we don't really actually know how to accomplish that. And so we practice the Dharma and we study about the Dharma. We study the Dharma, but then we don't often even know where to really begin, where to start it. And we have a lot of doubts in our mind, a lot of thoughts in our mind, and we always wonder, is it really okay like this or not? So, of course, if you know it well, if you know a ritual well, then the best thing to do is to practice according to the ritual text. But even if you're not such a ritualistic master, it is enough if you just focus single-pointedly on the Om Mani Dewa Shri mantra without any distraction. You just recite the mantra with faith in the Buddha Amitabha, then only by doing that, you are, for example, making extensive offerings to the three jewels and to the Buddha Amitabha and the Pure Land. And only through that, you can cultivate great compassion for sentient beings in samsara. For example, when somebody you love very much has died, like your parent or another relative, a friend, and you often wonder, what am I supposed to do now? How can I help them? So again, if you just recite Om Mani Dewa Shri mantra, then through this fruit of virtue, they can actually be born in Dewachen. Even if you don't know how to do anything else, if you just recite Om Mani Dewa Shri single-pointedly and with faith in the Buddha Amitabha, then there's nothing better than that. Everything is included within this. That is sufficient in itself. And you will certainly be able to benefit your parents or your other loved ones. Of course, ideally, you have a vast intention of benefiting all sentient beings in samsara. But even if not all the time, sometimes something happens and somebody encounters some difficulty, then you can instantly, for that sake, recite Om Mani Dewa Shri mantra in order to benefit them. Or if you want to clear away obstacles, some negative conditions, sickness, and so on. For example, if your activities are not being accomplished successfully, all kinds of things happen all the time. In these moments, just supplicate to the Buddha Amitabha and recite Om Mani Dewa Shri mantra. And then surely the blessings will enter your mind. And why are they entering your mind? It is because the Buddha Amitabha looks upon us throughout the 6 periods of day and night. So if I give rise to faith and a pure perception, and I recite the Buddha Amitabha's mantra with this state of mind, then I will establish a connection to the Buddha Amitabha. And through this connection, the blessings will enter my mind. So it is through my faith and my pure perception that I'm opening the door, as in I'm becoming receptive for these blessings. If I do not have any faith or pure perception, even though the Buddha Amitabha still looks upon me, my door is closed. I'm not receptive for his blessings. So it really depends on our own devotion and our own pure perception. So it's just like if you want somebody to come into the house, you've got to open the door. If you don't open the door, if you leave the door closed, then obviously nobody can enter your house. And so you need to open the door for them to enter. And similarly, you open the door of your mind by cultivating faith and a pure perception. And then the Buddha Amitabha always looks upon you. And so then through these blessings of having received the blessings of the Buddha Amitabha, you then take birth in the Pure Land of Dewachen. Or whatever you wish is accomplished. If you want to clear away obstacles and negative circumstances, they will be cleared away. Or if you want to purify the negativities of someone who has passed away, like a parent and so on, then this will be accomplished. Or if you want to increase your merit, it will increase. The Buddha Amitabha, through his blessings, is able to give you whatever you require. If you just recite Omami Deva Shri mantra with such a state of mind. And that is quite easy to do. Anyone can recite Omami Deva Shri mantra. And if you just do it, it is sufficient. And anything is accomplished. For example, if you want to make offerings to the 3 jewels, Omami Deva Shri is sufficient for that. Or if you want to clear away obstacles or perform some kind of puja for some kind of obstacle, if you just recite that mantra, it is enough. If you want to purify negativities, negative karma, you just recite this mantra, it is enough. So we have accumulated much negativity, much non-virtuous actions that we regret. And to purify them, just recite Omami Deva Shri mantra. Or if somebody has died, just recite Omami Deva Shri mantra without distraction. So if you just accumulate this mantra, the Buddha Amitabha will always know about this, because the Buddha Amitabha possesses the qualities of omniscience, of love, and of power. With his omniscient mind, he always looks upon sentient beings. He sees all of their suffering, all of their happiness. He looks upon us throughout the 6 periods of day and night. He knows each and every thought that we are thinking with his omniscient mind. And with his great love, he always cares for sentient beings. He wants to liberate them from suffering. And because he possesses great power, he was able to create this Pure Land of Dewachen. So on my part, if I give rise to faith and a pure perception, and I practice the Buddha Amitabha single-pointedly, and this is the way to establish this connection.
Latini Dewachen Yuba in Zang, the need bet to during Boli Yuga Kong Sina Tepami is during Boli Yoruas, Tepami is. Then I answer telling what they're going to Anthony, Bamian Nijana, telling what to be is. That the being good on Samsung answer that Mahayana, Yamis Nisegorwa, and the Samsata Shadanyani, Majevachi, this Hakoni to Sola. Namo Amitopo Lana. 단 유보 지구유래상 그러와 남도 지구유사래야 됐듯이 노고요 나무 아미 토보스는 긴 유본 치약이자 말이스 대가 밤에 친으로 와서 되는데 주는 뭘 되고 그래서 체는 못토야 주보 대탕이야 어때인데 밤에 냠내 정 하면 되어서 돈데나 되니 배치 안에 보되고요 그래서 토부요래서 탐식은 되는 체령 히톰네 되는 제밤민 진설 was 되는 밤이 된 제밤이 차대요 그래서 지발해서
And also, if you want to live a long life, you practice Omami Dewa Shri. Because Amitabha's essence is also the Buddha Amitayos, the Buddha of measureless life. And so Buddha Amitabha stays in the Pure Land of Dewachen for a very long time. So he has a very long life. And this long life aspect of his is the Buddha Amitayos. So therefore, if you wish to live a long life, it is also enough to just practice the Buddha Amitabha. For example, in the Mahayana tradition, sometimes there's some maybe who don't even practice so much, but they have some understanding. And then they hear words like Namo Amitofu. And when they hear that, often they think that, oh, that means somebody is going to die. They're going to die quickly. But that's actually a little bit mistaken. That's not what it really means, because the Buddha, Namo Amitofu, Amitofu is the name of the Buddha Amitabha. It doesn't mean somebody is going to die. This is his name. And also, because his essence is one with the Buddha Amitayos, he also represents long life and good physical health. Therefore, if you just recite the Omami Deva Shri mantra, you can also attain a long lifespan. Among all the different deities, Amitayos is the one that bestows the longest life. And Amitayos is one in nature with the Buddha Amitabha.
Dewachen give Jigan Nitara. Depunke Kagutini, Ambo Tin Soyin, Sunday Theatre, take on the children. Jenny Bate, Tosa Jaimba, and that Tosa Dujanitini, my Shoyins, Tosa Dujana, Tambo Telatini, Sansavina, Sosa Dujanti, Yinla, Dungugoni, Sosa Dujan, the Yongo, the Tambo Yinla, Tambo, Sansavina, the Yongodos. Mugusala, Yering Chimis, Dage Kosum, Creeper Sansaloso. The some understanding.
So now coming back to our 4 causes to be born in Dewachen. So we already spoke about the first one, which is how to visualize the field of accumulation, which is the support. So we spoke about that. And then secondly, the second cause of birth in Dewachen is to accumulate merit and to purify obscurations. And we do that through the 7 branches. And the first of these 7 branches is the branch of prostration.
That Sosa Dujana, that Kondishipanayi, on Amadeo, sure, don't then tell us how it Sosa Duyam, Mr. Sia, Maris. That Yin, young around the Che, Nyomumba Mambuchi, yon, Nyomumba, Relaco, taking Impo, Gavare, Yonkuduas, Telayan Gavare, Penatara Nyomumba, Soso Jula, you debating Majando, you know. Then Majalki Nimbotela, Injimico Sansar, then Majaki Nimbocha. Nimbocha send Majaki on the side, Ledema, Debate Jang, Roa, Jo, Tangasa Sajuchi, Lady, or te Pajan chick. Then Rangi Jug Majaya Machundoya. So Tangasuching Majar, Chingain, Sambaya. Conjosumna Dendo Shadrami, Massimjin, Zewan Shadrami, the Duduan Juson and Test Chizo, Chang Shishus and Modility, Long Lang Chuchon Roa, Majiva Yong Chokchon Roa, Lamsan, Kija Test Shetam and a poor Chokchon to so doa, so Karis in Majet, the youth and is on the this Lamsan, Namto Tower, the Namto Tower. On day, Majet, the unit in Namto Tower China. Carson, nine some Buddha, my boy, my shoe, son. Oh, Tamajic test him, Maranachi, Madevichin, and Martes, and some long long chucho chad, thing I jerry. Take a sigh, but in his hands and desire, pocket, drop out the pajan, chick, then rang a Judean, this Jima, nga ja this chun ro ya o so gu ba yin sa de den du me gu sa na nyen na che me sa da ge go som gu be san sa lo so jo dan 산지 어빠미데 다라 나서 가장 소견 산데스인데 다라 대화치 신감데 베 파릉보 휴지리 요리 가서 송송하시 이는야 가서 대빠요나 근데 베 타릉보리요 많이 타니보리요 그래서 나 대빠 누구요 나서 누구사 내내 재미스스 아 근데 나게 누구요 디고네 되네 산사바이나 근데 람사 산지그스나 톱톱바 마그드바 장토바 또 착해요레스 다게 고슴 그베 산도 고슴 센서디 고슴들 따라 뇨몬 고슴 르nga 예선 줄 르지고는 먹여와서 야바 나고는 먹여와서 야바 이지고는 먹여 티 먹였음데 나자든 되는 사야바더니 대성그 사야바더니 대저탄지 봐 다버스더니 네 르nga 예선 줄 고니 그바 르지 그바 나 그바 이 그바 고니 되니 산지에 보면 코드 제바라더니 산살로스
So as you mentioned before, also when we want to accumulate merit or purify obscurations, actually that can be accomplished by only reciting the Om Ami Deva Shri mantra. So there's nothing higher than that. But then still, in our minds, there are many afflictive emotions, and there is a virtuous antidote to each of these afflictive emotions. And so if the emotion in the mind is the emotion of pride, then the antidote to this afflictive emotion is to offer prostration. That purifies the obscuration of the karma accumulated with a mind of pride. And also at the same time, the pride in your mind becomes lesser and lesser. So when we are prideful and we think it's all me, I'm the best, and we don't have so much devotion to the three jewels, and we don't have so much love for sentient beings, we can actually see that a lot in our various communities, that these are the people who get upset very quickly, who get angry very quickly, who get unhappy very quickly. And for example, if you say something a little bit wrong to them, then immediately they are upset and affected by it. And that's actually because of pride. And we say that somebody has a lot of thoughts, thinks too much. That's actually because of the pride in the mind, because they think I'm so great, I'm so good, so how dare anyone insult me? And then if you just say the smallest little thing to them, if you just offend them a little bit, then immediately it will affect them, and they get really angry and upset about it. That is because of pride. And so this obscuration of pride is purified through prostration, and then as it becomes purified, the pride in our mind becomes lesser and lesser. So it says in the text, with a devotion that does not make any difference between near and far, I prostrate full of respect with my three doors. So we mentioned yesterday when we spoke about the field of accumulation, the Pure Land of Dewachen, we said that it is very far away. But on the other hand, if you have great faith, then it's not actually far away. Then it's actually very close to you. So if you cultivate devotion and respect to the Buddha, Amitabha, and the Pure Land, then the blessings of the Buddha will instantly enter your mind, and you will purify many obscurations. So here, the paying respect or prostrating with the three doors refers to the body, speech, and the mind. And so we are purifying the negativities, the non-virtues accumulated with the body, and those accumulated with the speech, and those accumulated with the mind, mainly here with a prideful mind. And so in order to purify these, we respectfully prostrate with the body, speech, and mind to the Buddha Amitabha and the retinue.
다 산치에 하장 계진 뭐 쪼ong하게 뇽바 나저스에 무슨 때에 기침 보인서와 말한 소속이 줄로 소속이 답지시와 가르치는 게 산치고로와 산치고의 짐신 또 등하게 따라 듀라 요방 나저스에지도 나저스에 때때스 마총을 땅 나저드지 축초요래야 남중하게 날 힘주만세는 나저시라 하고 문도 나인 삼들와 대인데 등하게 날 유 답지시 나랑 같이 뭘 그잡데 봐 누구고는 그잡데 봐 그저 희나 하장게 제와 개념이 봐라 그저 야보시야 생부터네 학삼이 봐 그러와 삼제유 봐 되는 류가 이스비고네 지다 야라부 주바 야라부 주바세나 다 디난다나 들이 나자데마 명은 누구 데 나랑은 주와 땅와 남주체야 류가 이스비고네 지인라 마구바 계제시야 사와르야 가레나 드르드스 주와 땅 그러와 구바유바 데데데데제나 데는 나자데 파빵 데는 산철리 산차야 동하고 산차야 동데 하고 동 가르세나 나자데 마총을 다야 치들 대마도 가서지 산지가 가서 그 산치야 레와양 계작이요 말이 로 또 나랑긴 거네 산치거 내가 있으면 그 보고네 산지를 그바치듯이 로 나서 정말 지질래야 파츠 그바치 근데지 근데 야랍 주장제나 근데 다 산초도 좀 바쳐가 요사래 예서
So prostration is very important, and it's very important to recognize the afflictive emotion of pride. So for that, we need to look at our mind, really have some introspection. Why do I need to prostrate? The reason why I need to prostrate is in order to decrease the pride in my mind, at least somewhat. Because when we are, pride is an emotion that is kind of always very quickly arises. And normally we don't really recognize that. We don't really look at our minds, so we don't recognize it. We just think it's all about me. But the moment you can recognize this within you, and then you begin to pay more respect to others, physically, and also through your conversation, you speak to them in a more loving and kind, a positive way. And in your mind, you develop a greater sense of like a pure intention towards others and a mind of love, loving kindness. So naturally, then your actions of body, speech, and mind become like well-formed actions, like kind of polite, courteous actions. And within such a state, then the mind of pride decreases. So in this way, we have to transform ourselves by looking at our own mind. And then in this way, changing our behavior towards others with body, speech, and mind. The way we act towards them, the way we speak to them, and so on. It all becomes more respectful, and our pride becomes more and more reduced. And so it's very important to understand the significance of why we need to prostrate. So what is the significance of why do we need to prostrate? It is because we need to eliminate our own pride. It's not because the Buddhas or someone hopes that we are prostrating to them. It's so that we can eliminate our own pride. That is why we are respectful towards others with our body, speech, and mind. And that means to all others, one another, each other. We treat each other with respect, with a courteous, polite behavior. So that is actually the most supreme prostration.
Chukunawan Taye Rikita, Saye Zillit, Genese, and Genese one Sevaja, Sanyo Zillit, Pemanju, Yandro Urgent Sewa Tajanji, 2 years later, Pemanju, Yandro Urgent Sewa Tajanji, Chuko Pamela Samsalos.
So then it says in the text, the Dharmakaya, limitless radiance, Lord of the Buddha family, emanates from his right hand light rays that become Chenrezig, 1 billion secondary emanations of the mighty Chenrezig. From his left hand, he emanates light rays that become Tara, with 1 billion secondary emanations of Tara. From his heart, light rays go out, manifesting Padmasambhava, together with 1 billion secondary emanations of Orgyan. I prostrate to Dharmakaya, measureless light.
Chuko Pame, Chuko, Mayi did the Simchi Tamjik to the young con, Papa made Surah Matulaka, now you bache. The knee, the young, the knee conge. Saye Bale was part me ban train the daily also part me but the genese. Masotara genese said to the apartment to the door. Saye was a letter. Genese, Saye was true. Then the daily genese true. Then it genese daily and then it genese Jaton Chubama to the young genese and was Sevajas. Then it Sayung. Sayung was young was a part of me, Sayung Balletini, Tara Pami, Sayung Balan was a part of me pantry. Was a part of me pantry, there comes the Jetu Romarido, then the Jetu Roma Tele and then Jetu Roma, Seva Tatum Mambotin, Trudo, and Anzonam Droma, Samson Yechi, Dene and Droma Jat, and Dodin to Tankashi, and Dodin Droma Jat, Bamtamambo, true. Then it told us a part of me pantry. Then it tell Gorum Butch to the then Gorum Budget, then Gorum Budget tell audience our chatting mambo true. The legend true to us. True courage and true young person. That's Simchi, man Simchi Chang Mambo. Simchi Chang Mambo and said, then it's Hanji a Chang Mambo so Chang me basone. Then it Namban drama, Tam drama, then Simji to Sanji Macha, but then Simji cheat there, then it do it, then it covered the heart tamchil. Ya dongal ya drone rampa yin tene ya sanji ju kong pangku be sella tene di kong na patade ji tune tade je do as ta pe na nga chi tan do din ji ba mi ge ma do ta je zu du ma dong cham beng cham ma bu jin ne ze dong cham beng cham ma bu ta sim ji dong ha do chi de nga do as pe na ten sang ja khap kha ki ja khap pong bo de ka tang ne ja khap ji ji la ma ja ge ma dong cham beng cha sing ga do Sonchamabu Mangarudo, oh, Pete and Rochirido, Opamic, the Simji Tamji Dongal Doversud. The name Congress that is Mampotter, Jetudoma Mampotter, and then Simji Dhondrup to us. Jacob no Koran cheat my yin Jacob, Sanji, my answer cheat, the thing I was Donald drove cheat. Simji Tamji Donald drove cheat. Then it did have a trip apart the me by saying the 사 탐지겠더니 답변나 사 탐지고 주유다라 추지인의 마이인도 선대더니 다 추지 걸에 마이인데더니 롱주즈 복거스는 다 제주주마다더니 제네세 라서 파테다 탐지더니 심지 또 산지 마찰 페빙무리서야 사 탐지 찍리세야 돈다 티딘 하고 그래서 이게 찍인바 내가 자더니 제 라즈딩 만나서 넘버만 잡아라면 이게 찍니 그래서야 라 찍는 라 탐진도 그래서 Penangaso, Paman Dubdena, Chinese and Dubderi, Jetuduma and Dubdera, Tamchin Dubderes. Carison, treat the chicken inside the teletini chick do not summon Deba, the chapel is. Then answer Sancho Simba, Sancho Sima, Mambo Euro, their Tamji and Trubata, generated the Jetuduma Lasso, but Trunko Euro, Simching it on the number number. Touching the number pay, Sai. 작동지 놓다 마이나 통제와 단테니 시랍이요나 테니 심지게 동주고요나 테니 대 탐지한테니 제네즈 주로 말아서 붙여 찬로 그래서 这个版面上层楼上。
So then the Buddha Amitabha arises in this form of the Buddha Amitabha while remaining unmoving from the state of the Dharmakaya. And so the Buddha Amitabha appears as the Dharmakaya, limitless radiance. And then from his right hand, light rays become Chenrezig. So inconceivable light rays become Chenrezig. And then these Chenrezigs become a billion secondary emanations of Chenrezig. So the basis of Chenrezigs arising is Amitabha. So Chenrezig arises from out of Amitabha. And then from his left hand, again, inconceivable light rays emanate, and these light rays become Tara, and then become a billion secondary emanations of Tara, become a billion of Taras. So we often speak about the 21 Taras or the 100 names of Tara. And so there are actually billions of emanations of Tara. And then from Buddha Amitabha's heart, again, inconceivable light rays emanate, manifesting Guru Padmasambhava, and then 1 billion secondary emanations of Padmasambhava, of Guru Rinpoche. And so why do all these limitless billions of emanations manifest from Amitabha? It is because there are limitless sentient beings. So there is a need for limitless Buddhas that appear in many limitless ways and perform various skillful methods to benefit sentient beings. So they all emanate, they all manifest in order to liberate sentient beings gradually from suffering and in order to establish them in the state of enlightenment. Now, for example, we can see them as like an army that the Buddha Amitabha sends forth. So the Buddha Amitabha sends forth an army of Chenrezigs and Taras in order to benefit sentient beings, to liberate them from suffering. For example, in a worldly sense, a leader of a country might want to go to war with another country and then send hundreds and thousands of soldiers, their army, and various weapons. And so similarly, but with a different intention, the Buddha Amitabha sends these limitless emanations of Chenrezig and Tara with the intention to clear away the suffering of sentient beings. That is why he dispatches so many Chenrezigs and Taras to act for sentient beings. So of course, it's not like a country going for war in that sense, because a war is fought for one's own purpose. But the Buddha Amitabha sends out this army of deities in order to liberate sentient beings from suffering. And so the ground from which they all arise is Amitabha. All the deities actually arise from the same Dharmakaya ground. So all the Sambhogakayas like Tara and Chenrezig and so forth, they all arise from the state of the Dharmakaya in order to benefit sentient beings. And that is why we always say all the deities are one. It is because they arise from this single basis, the single ground. There are many countless emanations, many manifestations of deities, but they all come from the same foundation, the same ground. And that is why if you practice a single deity, you're practicing all the deities. For example, if you accomplish Amitabha, you are simultaneously accomplishing Chenrezig, you're accomplishing Tara, you're accomplishing all the deities, because they all arise from one single basis. So all the male and the female bodhisattvas and the various emanations of Chenrezig and Tara and so on, all of these beings who arise in order to benefit sentient beings arise from the same ground, the same basis, appearing in many different forms. So for example, when we speak about Genresic manifesting, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has to appear with 4 arms or with 1,000 arms, but basically anyone who comes to benefit sentient beings and who loves sentient beings can said to be an emanation of Genresic or an emanation of Tara. And so they all again arise from the single ground of the Dharmakaya Amitabha. So then we stop the teachings here for today.
Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu, Om Dewa Shu. Page number 31. Ge wan de yan yer den da pa min gon re jen he ro an je jam ma len pa de ye sa lang gu ba yu.
By this virtuous practice, may I quickly realize Buddha Amitabha, and may all sentient beings without exception be established in that state.
Chancho, Simcho, Rinpoche, Mache, Pana, Chije, Jiba, Nyamba, Neba, Kone, Kondam, Puaisho.
Page 35. May bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, arise where it has not been, whereas a raisin may not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
To break 30 minutes.
Dear participants, we'll now proceed for 30 minutes tea break. 那各位佛友，我们休息30分钟。So as usual, you may redeem your tea break items at our F&B counter. 那同样的，就是在我们的这个餐饮的柜台那里，你可以领取你的就是茶点。So please be back before 4 p.m. 那请在4点之前回到座位。So a gentle reminder to everyone, please consume all your tea break items, your snacks and your hot beverages 10 minutes before the session. Please refrain from bringing the hot beverages back into the hall starting from 4 p.m. 那就是再一次叮咛各位呢，就是尽量在休息的时段，就是把你所有的这个茶点都就是饮用完，请避免带到会场里面，从4点开始。好，所以不过现在你们是可以把茶点带进来，留在你的座位吃。So during the break time, you can eat at your seat, but 10 minutes before the session, please finish consumption. Thank you. And on the last day, we'll be having a Changchuk. So please do sign up. And if you have friends who needs this Changchuk puja, you can also register for them. 那其实我们最后一天有这个超度法会仪式，所以如果您有意的话，或者有朋友需要超度或者祈福的话呢，可以到我们的那个柜台那里去报名。谢谢。
Oh.
阿弥陀佛。
Dear participants, please kindly proceed back to your seats. 各位佛友，请回到您的座位。Dear participants, please rise and put your palms together. 各位佛友，请起立合掌。